Hi, everyone. Welcome to Unmuzzled. I'm your host, Sarah Lauk. As you can see, I have a very special guest today. Mac was on the couch barking, and just to get him to quiet down, I put him into my hoodie, which is one of his favorite places to be. At 16 years old, Mac gets whatever he wants. And if you're listening to the podcast, if you go to the video version, you'll be able to see him tucked in here with me. Today, I have the director of the Chicago Bird Collision Monitors. What does that mean? That's a mouthful, but what the work that they do is so important. So we're going to get to Annette in a second. Before we do that, sponsors, you're up. Thank you so much to our presenting sponsors. Canine Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. With over 12,000 square feet of indoor space and a spacious yard, they're the one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Bark Pouch makes mess-free lickable treats for a delightful time with your dogs. Reward good greetings, treat calm table manners, or enjoy a walk together with their easy-to-use pouch. With 5 irresistible all-human-grade recipes in 2 sizes, even picky pups find a favorite. One gentle squeeze and a quick lick of Bark Pouch treats, and you'll enjoy amazing attention even when you're wearing gloves. Hopefully we're out of winter soon, though. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of CDH Hospital on the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet. Okay, so I'm now joined by Annette. Annette, thank you so much for being here. As I was researching the work that you do, the biggest thing that kind of stands out to me is I think a lot of us, like, we just do, like, we're going on with our daily life, but there may be something right in front of you that you see and you don't know how important it is to report it, protect it. And that's birds that hit buildings, especially in the city of Chicago. And that's not all you do, but that's, really what you do. So can you kind of tell me, you've been doing this for 20 years, which is just remarkable. So tell me how this started, how you got interested, and what exactly it is.
Okay. I'm part of a grassroots organization that started back in 2003 for the protection and rescue of migratory birds, because one of the greatest treasures of Chicago are the hundreds of different kinds of birds that come through this area. They don't live here year round, but during spring and fall migration, millions of birds are moving from where they spent their winter, which are down in southern areas, tropical areas, and they're heading up to the northern United States and Canada, where they're going to raise their young. And we happen to be in the path of millions of birds that unfortunately fall victim to some of the urban hazards we have, particularly glass buildings that they're unfamiliar with. And our group was formed to raise awareness, educate people, try to find these birds and really document the magnitude of the problem, because people find one bird here and one bird there, but they don't, as you said, understand how it accumulates, and it ends up being hundreds of thousands of birds that are injured this way. But since we don't see them all in one place, people often think it's a minor problem. But the fact that we collect these birds and make records of what's happening helps us understand the problem, hopefully help those birds, and find solutions that might give them protections.
Yeah, and I will say, some of the pictures are tough, and I didn't pull any of the tough pictures to look at on the Facebook page, but I know it's sad. Like, it's really, like, it pulls at your heart, and it makes you want to be alert and realize, okay, this bird obviously hit the building that I work in and is laying here. What do I do? So tell me what people should do. I think, you have a team of volunteers. I have a friend, Sarah, and that's kind of where this all came from, who posts about it and really, like, got me, like, invested in what she does. But what should somebody do if they find a bird that hit a building, or a bird in general, really?
Sure. It can happen at your home. It can happen when you're downtown. We monitor downtown because that's a concentrated area where we can find little birds that are hurt. But we know that it happens everywhere, at office parks, businesses, shopping centers, any place where there's glass. And it doesn't have to be many story buildings. It can be a one-story building. All it takes is a window that a bird thinks they can fly into, or they see a reflection that they want to fly towards, and they can get hurt. If you see a bird like that, if it's one of the best things to do is to call our hotline number to get advice as far as what the wisest action would be. And our hotline number is 773-988-1867. If you can pick that bird up and right away while it's hurt on the ground and can't maybe move as well as it should after it's hit its head and on the window, picking it up and putting it in a paper bag that you can clip shut, putting it into a box with a lid, something that's dark, quiet, and closed. The birds will be able to sit unstressed and hopefully be able to begin the recovery process from what is usually major head trauma. They fly into glass almost at 30 miles an hour, and it's like you or me flying through our windshield without any protection. So they can often recover from this. They need the time though, and while they're sitting on the ground, too hurt to move, they can get stepped on, they can get run over by a car, they can get chased by a dog, they can be picked up and eaten by a predatory bird. So we need them safe. When you first see a bird like that, picking them up, getting them into something that's closed and dark, not handling them because they're going to relax and be able to start the process of healing when they're kept in a quiet place.
Yeah, and I think this is one of your volunteers. So obviously like equipped with bags, and a net is actually like a great idea because then you don't have to put your hands on the bird.
Yeah, having a basic butterfly net helps you make sure you secure it, because sometimes when you reach with your hand, you've got to be very close, and the bird sometimes gets frightened and jumps away because you don't want it. You want it to contain the bird so it has the time to recuperate and doesn't just go someplace off where it's going to be in danger. So we carry paper bags and our basic butterfly net with us. And what we're doing is seeing birds at the foot of the glass windows downtown. We're getting a hold of those injured birds, putting them in those little bags. They're like little bird ambulances. They have a nice paper towel on the bottom they sit on. We clip the bag shut, and when they're dark and quiet in those bags, they begin recuperating.
Yeah, just incredible work. And then I also saw this on your page, which I think is probably one of the most important initiatives. And, it can really be contagious. Like, I feel like if I still work downtown in a building and I saw a sign like this, I would say to my building, hey, have we ever looked at this? Like, did we ever think about birds? But tell me about this and what, people, and like you just said, it could be 1 story, 2 stories. It doesn't have to be like a 50-story building.
Exactly. We are always looking for people who live or work in buildings that want to promote doing something about the dangerous parts of a building. And sometimes you don't have to fix the whole building. It can be the part along the ground where the birds are spending their time. If you can do anything to give birds a way to see something that's in their way, or something that they can't fit through to fly through, or something that just stands in front of where they might fly into the glass. This was a Trader Joe's in Chicago that painted a lot of their glass display windows with these very beautiful bird art messages and images, and put something that stopped the glass from looking clear and transparent. Instead, put these temporary images that people got to enjoy during the migration season. And it was something that they could wash off afterwards. So using temporary paints to put images on your glass, hanging ribbons in front of glass. It always has to be on the outside because the birds are outside and they need something, either a hanging string or something that's temporarily soaked in the glass, that it's got a smeary surface instead of something like it's either perfectly clear or that has a reflection in it. Because you want to stop the fact that glass has clear sections, and you want to stop the reflections. And that has to happen not on the inside. If you put decals, stickers, or anything on the inside, the outside surface that birds are seeing still stays reflective. So you want to put something on the outside, and you want to have something that covers most of the space. Just putting 1 or 2 decals. Some people want to put 1 hawk decal up, and that just protects the one area where that hawk decal is, and all the rest of the glass the birds have a potential to fly into. So you want to cover something uniformly with either a dot pattern or a line pattern that gives birds the idea that they should fly around or away from that, not towards it.
Yeah, really interesting too how you said whatever's on the other side of the glass or what is reflecting off of it. So if you have this beautiful high rise in Chicago that might have mirrored windows, they could be seeing the lake off those windows and think they're going through it. I mean, it's just crazy when you think about it. And I'm sure that you have learned far more than you even want to about birds, but you really do study them and know so much about them, including, their migration patterns. But can you tell me what happens, when you do get one that passed away? What do you try to discover about that bird to help you in the future?
Well, we do pick up the birds that are injured as well as the birds that have died. And it's unfortunate that these birds have passed away, but we send every salvaged bird to the Field Museum in Chicago in order for them to be part of research, education, advocacy work. It's a documentation of the types of birds that are coming through, because people are very surprised at some of these birds that seem very exotic. They don't live here year round. They're only visitors, and they're little tourists that are coming through our town we want to see them have safe passages. And so the ones that have died can lead us to understanding better how bird vision works. So we could potentially make glass and other materials in our buildings that birds can see, and we can still have the windows and the glass that we want, but we can add elements to the glass surfaces that will allow birds to avoid them, which is the ultimate goal. So we feel that although these birds have unfortunately died, they're not just being thrown away. They're going to advance knowledge of their species, and we can learn a lot of things. We've had researchers studying bird vision, and they've been able to use the specimens that we collect to look at their eyes, see what their corneas, how they work, how they perceive light. Which is very different from us, how they see different colors. Many birds can see in the ultraviolet spectrum. We can't see ultraviolet light very easily. And if we can add elements of ultraviolet to some of the materials that we use, birds may see something. It doesn't block our view, but it would show the birds something that they should be aware of and avoid.
I just love how much you can learn, even unfortunately the ones that you lose. I think that's just incredible, and it makes you better as an organization too. So I know, looking at your site, you have ways to help. You obviously always need donations. So if you guys go to the website here, birdmonitors.net, but what else can people do? I know that you have volunteers that are on call in the city, so that if somebody does find a bird, my friend Sarah is one of those people that helps a lot. But what else can people do?
Yeah, we certainly always need volunteers, because the more people we have, the more birds we can get to. Our helpline gets almost 10,000 calls a year.
Wow.
And we are either giving people information on how they can do something when they found a bird, or we are sending someone to help if it's something that someone's unable to rescue and protect. So if you have an area where you're noticing birds, whether you work or live someplace where you see birds hitting the windows and being injured or killed, you can call us and we can consult with giving you strategies that'll protect the birds where they're where they may be coming into harm's way. We need people to promote policies. We are currently trying to develop an ordinance in Chicago that would require that new buildings start using these materials that we know are safer for birds. And we have the ability. We certainly have to fix the buildings that are currently here, but if going forward, we can prevent new buildings from being built and making anything that is constructed from here on safe for birds, we'll be saving thousands of birds, because every building that goes up that doesn't have bird safety features in it, for the life of that building, is going to kill thousands of birds. And we know that we can stop that, because we have the techniques and the materials that'll do that. And then we work with buildings and say that maybe you don't have to fix your entire building, but we can find a section that's the very critical part, and be able to do a fit where we add window film or patterns or screening or something that will reduce the number of bird strikes. We work with a lot of different universities around the Chicago area who have beautiful campuses with lots of landscaping that attracts birds, but then also a lot of buildings with glass. And if we can identify the critical areas and get those fixed, we can save thousands and thousands of bird lives.
Yeah, I was reading that. I think it's called Bird Friendly Chicago. That's kind of something new that you're working on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we formed a coalition of the birding groups and conservation members of Chicago to work on petitioning the city, working through the political processes it takes to put an ordinance in place. We have bird-friendly measures put into the current sustainable development policy for the city, but those are options, and buildings have to earn so many points to get permitted to do certain projects. So there are at least guidelines that people can follow and earn points with. But since it's optional, we find that most projects don't choose to do it. We feel it's essential enough that it needs to be required, and we want people to speak with their alderman, write to the mayor of the city, saying that these measures that are determining whether something lives or dies are too important to be optional. We require sprinkler systems. We require fire extinguishers. We require smoke detectors. Those are things for saving lives and protecting things. And these birds are dying in the thousands, and it's not optional that they be protected. We rely on them, even if you're not a bird watcher or someone that is necessarily interested in that. These birds are a critical part of our ecosystem. They control insects and seed dispersal, and are part of a whole global system of that needs to stay healthy in order for us to still have our crops and our healthy environment protected from diseases. And so it's something. Helping these birds is helping ourselves, and we rely on these birds, and we owe them a better fate just because they're really amazing creatures. And we also rely on them to keep a world that we all can live in and stay healthy and be able to benefit from what these birds provide.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, go back to 6th grade and Science 101, even earlier, like when you learned about ecosystems and how important nature and birds and flowers and trees and nature is. And it's kind of, I feel like, when you grow up, you don't think about those things, and it takes maybe like a bird dead in front of you to realize like it is a real problem in Chicago. And I hope that people listening or watching, if you do work or even visit a high rise, that you say to them like, hey, have you guys thought about this? Like, that's so important, because I think it takes people that give a damn to push the people at the top to make a difference, because the people at the top, unfortunately, including the mayor of the city, are worried about far more than this, but it is something so important. So Annette, I really applaud you and thank you for doing all this work for so long. It's really incredible. And I'm glad that Sarah opened my eyes to it. So thank you for all you do.
You're welcome. We need everyone involved. We need everyone talking to the buildings where they live and work, your own homes, and elected officials to tell them that we really need protections in place, because these birds are too important to lose, and all of them are declining species that we're losing, and they're part of this chain of life that gives all of us a healthy world to live in.
Yeah, incredible. Thank you so much, Annette. Everybody, please, that's a great point too. Even where you live, a lot of us have lived in apartment buildings. And like she said earlier, it doesn't have to be like a 10, 50 story. It can be small buildings. We all know we can see the birds flying. They're not all flying way up high. So thank you so much, Annette. You've been a great guest. I'll definitely be supporting you and following you on social media as well.
It's really nice to talk to you. Thanks for inviting me, and continue to enjoy the spring migration that's out there. Birds are everywhere.
Yeah, so true. Thank you, Annette. That was Annette, everybody. Just incredible work that she's doing. And I really, really appreciate it. Please, if you can, follow them on social media. Again, some of the photos are a little bit difficult to look at, but it spurs in you to say, hey, like, I need to be cognizant of this. I need to know what to do when I find a bird. I need to know what to say to my apartment complex about this. But just incredible work that she's doing. And I really appreciate it. And I appreciate my friend Sarah opening my eyes to it. Supporting sponsors, thank you. Thank you so much to our supporting sponsors. Give the gift of joy and memorable moments of furry loved ones with a gift card from Kimberly Kingen Photography. For more details, please visit her website at KimberlyKingen.com or contact her directly at her email, kimberly@kimberlykingen.com. The Canine PT is Chicago's highest rated dog physical therapy clinic, and they're dedicated to enhancing the lives of your four-legged companions as they age or when recovering from an injury. They also offer a discount for rescue dogs. For more information, visit thek9pt.com. That's THEK9pt.com. Anything is Possible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every stage of your dog's life and have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement. Check out Anything is Possible. Liz Starks at Guaranteed Rate. Check with Liz for the absolute best mortgage options. She helps when others can't and even calls it rescue loans. Buyers, sellers, investors, give Liz a call. She can lend in all 50 states. NMLS number 224526. Thank you, supporting sponsors. I think Mac slept through most of this. Mac loves birds, but he's so cuddly. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you guys next week.